Okay. I've been working on some designs for SpringBoard, and I've tried a bunch of different stuff, but I think I've kind of started settling in on what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to record a little bit of me going through this. I'll probably like speed up places where I don't have much to say, just so it's not a super boring video. But yeah, let's jump into the design. This will be the index page for SpringBoard, where it's going to show just like a list of your processes, as well as like current progress, edit, delete actions. There's going to be probably some sort of like hover color state that shows on these. And then obviously we can search through them, filter them based on these like categories here. And then the create new button. This one shows like an expanded state, and then there'll be an edit state. And then I don't think I want to deal with trying to assign things to users yet. I just don't think I want to deal with that yet. So I'm going to try to work through a design and try to figure out what we want to show on this sort of like indexy type page here. This is actually the detail view for a process that includes the Kanban board. I've mocked up a couple of views here, which is like, this is what the regular state would be. This is an edit state. This is when it's in you can kind of see here where when it's in to do or done, you don't see like the description or the links here, but if it's in progress, it'll show you the links that you need. I think that'll make it a little easier to work with, since they might take up a ton of space. Say if you have like 12 tasks and they're all this big. So that was my thought there. But yeah, just gonna keep working through this design and try to figure out what I want to do here. One thing I don't like, actually, I usually don't mock everything up. So like you can kind of see here where it's like I decided to add these icons, but I hadn't really added them to these yet, which is just because it's like I know they exist. I'll make sure they're there when I get into coding, but I don't feel like dealing with it right now. So I took a break and I came back and I just realized that I don't know if I care that there's the ability to update the UI here. So I think I'm just going to nix that feature. So I had a chance to finish up the design for SpringBoard over the weekend, and I'm thinking that would be like the empty state. Made a call and moved away from, I think, what was previously seen as like rows and stuff, to doing a card style. Just because I don't think that, as you can kind of see here, like the data between an active card, active process, and a inactive process has a little bit different expectation of like what data is being shown, versus like what was the last activity and when was it done and how far are we through this process versus the last time that the whole process was completed and a number of how many times this process has been used. Because I want to add this ability to filter based on like most often used, that type of thing. So yeah, I think that is kind of the game plan for the index view. And then moving over to the, and I also, you can kind of see here, I kind of moved to this like smaller header, as opposed to, and I haven't updated on this one, but moved away from this idea of like the bigger size one that's just on the gray background, just to keep things, this idea of having like nav type links to get to a settings page. And then this would be the detail view with the Kanban board. These are like the different views. So like this would be a task that's to do. This would be a task that's in like its inline edit mode. And then when a task gets moved to in progress, the links that have been added here will actually show so that they don't take up as much room when you're just waiting for them to be done, but they're there as soon as you start working on that task. And then obviously the done column. One other thing I did was I had the delete button red before, but I think I just wanted to normalize the design and not have as many button colors going on with the design, so I just made it the primary action being edit and then delete being more of an outline secondary style button, with the most important task on the page, button being on the page, being creating a new task here, and then just this subtle one here if they want to do it and they've scrolled to the bottom of this list instead of having to scroll all the way back up to create a task, be able to create a new task from the bottom of this list, however long it may be. So this would be the edit page as well for being able to update the title and the description here. And then you can kind of see how it fades out the bottom here, because we want this to be, don't want them to be able to be editing title and description and be moving tasks around, just to try to keep the UI, the UX as straightforward as possible. So this is what I think I'm going to go with. I'd love to hear any feedback from anyone out there. I'm going to post the design screenshots themselves, and love some feedback here if you have it. Other than that, I'm just going to move on into what I think next I'll be doing is trying to think through types. So obviously the main part of this series is building this in Elm, and one of the biggest strengths of Elm is using types to constrain impossible states. So you can kind of see a little bit of that here, being able to use like the state of the page to know whether this is in edit mode versus task mode, whatever I end up thinking through it. I'm trying to decide, I'm thinking I might try to do like a live stream with that one just to get people's feedback as I'm working on it. But we'll see. But yeah, that's the design so far, and looking forward to seeing how this turns out.